Unit rate problem number 5. Amy jogs 1/3 of a mile in 1/15 of an hour, while John takes 1/30 of an hour to jog 1/5 of a mile. If they continued at this rate, who would jog farther in 1 hour and by how much? This problem is different than the other problems we've done today because in this example, we're actually comparing the speed of two joggers and trying to figure out who's going to go further in 1 hour and what's the difference between them, like how much further is one person going to go than another. A great way to compare two rates is to change them each to unit rates, and then it'll be easy to compare them. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to split my screen in half, and I'm going to show Amy's work over here on the left, and then I'm going to show John's work over here on the right. So let's just focus on Amy for now. They told us in the question, they said the word rate, so we know we're looking for a unit rate. And then they also told us what needs to be 1. So they're telling us that the denominator they're telling us that the hour needs to be 1. And remember, in a unit rate, the denominator is going to equal 1. So I know that I need to put hour in the denominator. So that means that if hours are going to be in the denominator, then miles are going to be in the numerator. So I'm going to go ahead and put her miles. Amy's miles it's listed right there, 1/3 of a mile, and then that's in 1/15 of an hour. So she can jog 1/3 of a mile in 1/15 of an hour. So we're ready to solve this one, figure out what this is a unit rate. So they're both fractions, so we can go ahead and change out the fraction bar for a division symbol. Remember, we write the numerator fraction first, and then we write the denominator fraction second. And then we can use the method keep, change reciprocal to change the division to multiplication. We keep the first fraction, we change the division to multiplication, and we record the reciprocal of 1/15. Then we multiply across. 15 times 1 is 15, 3 times 1 is 3, and 15 divided by 3 is 5. So Amy is traveling at a rate of 5 miles per 1 hour. So 5 miles every 1 hour. That looks like a T, but I just made a mistake, so that's supposed to be miles. All right, now we're ready to look over at John's information. So I'm going to change out the color that I'm using. And then we'll switch over to writing about how fast John is running. So John is running, well, I guess I should set this part up first. Remember, the denominator is hours because the denominator is the part that needs to be 1. And then the numerator, so the numerator is going to be the miles. So I put miles or mile up here. And then I can fill in for him that he traveled 1/5 of a mile in 1/30 of an hour. And they're trying to confuse us here because you'll notice they put hers in this order, 1/3 of a mile and 1/15 of an hour. And then they switch the order for him. They put hours before miles. So they're trying to trick us here a little bit, make the problem more difficult. But as long as you pay attention to what goes in the numerator and what goes in the denominator, you won't make a mistake. This also makes sense for miles to go in the numerator and hours in the denominator because usually distance goes in the numerator and time in the denominator because probably in science class you're learning right now that speed is equal to distance divided by time. So often when we're looking at rates, when we have a distance and a time, we're really finding a speed. All right, so we have our distance, 1/5 of a mile, divided by our time, 1/30 of an hour. We have a fraction in the numerator and the denominator, so that step is finished for us. So the next step is to change out the fraction bar for a division symbol. Then we record the numerator fraction first, the denominator fraction second. Then we can apply the keep, change, reciprocal method to be able to change the division to multiplication. We keep the first fraction, you change the division symbol to multiplication, and then you record the reciprocal of 1/30. And then with multiplication, we multiply the numerators, we multiply the denominators, and we get 30/5. 30 divided by 5 is equal to 6. So John is moving at a rate of 6 miles per 1 hour, or 6 miles every hour. So now we can say, now that they're unit rates, that it's a lot easier to compare. When you look at it in this form, when it was just a rate, 1/3 per 1/15 of an hour, and 1/5 of a mile per 30th of an hour, it's very confusing to compare them. Now it seems simple to compare them. 6 miles every hour is a faster rate than 5 miles every hour. So John is moving at a faster rate, and he's moving at a rate of 1 mile per hour faster. So he travels 1 mile more per hour. So let's go ahead and read our answer choices. Amy would jog 1 mile farther than John. Nope, that's not true. She's moving slower. John would jog 1 mile farther than Amy. That's true. Now what's untrue about these? Amy would jog 2 miles farther than John. Well, it's not 2 miles, and Amy is slower. And even though this one says that John would go further than Amy because he's moving faster, the 2 miles part makes it incorrect. So the answer is definitely B. I just like to read the other answer choices to make sure that I don't make a mistake. So on your Go Formative, you would be circling your answer, and all of this work that I showed up here would be what I would have written in my paper pencil notebook.